Dr. Poor, we have put this video together to show you our appreciation and thank and perseverance.
You and your department have given us over the last few years, but especially the past 18 months. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Dr. Poor. For years, we will miss you.
The opportunity to begin working with you as we possibly could.
All that you've done for the Douglas County Youth Center, the people that work over there, the kids we take care of. Your advice, your counsel has been invaluable over these last 18 months. It's really thankful.
We need to get the vaccines into that statement for which I admire you the most.
Also, congratulations on
what that was like. We all lived through it.
Dr. Poor, I just want to thank you for your pretty tough on your Dr. Poor for
years. You're finally going. I know we've talked about it a lot of times, but Ebola, now this, and just the transformation of what public health means in the community. So thank you for everything, and I wish you a happy retirement.
Good morning, everyone. We will go ahead and get started.
Recording in progress.
A copy of the Open Meetings Act is located on the back wall of the chambers, as well as an automatic external defibrillator. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning again. We'll begin with the agenda for the Douglas County Board of Equalization. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Maureen Boyle. Here. Commissioner Mike Boyle is absent. Commissioner Kavanaugh. Here. Commissioner Friend.
Here.
Commissioner Morgan. Here. Commissioner Rogers. Here. Madam Chair.
Present. Item A, approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021. And item B, call for a meeting and set Tuesday, July 20th, 2021 as the date for hearing on certified assessment corrections reflecting the addition of omitted property to the tax rolls or increased value on property. Is there a motion to approve A and B?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Rogers, seconded by Commissioner Morgan. Please vote.
And we will be doing a voice vote this morning, Commissioners. Commissioner Maureen Boyle.
Yes.
Commissioner Mike Boyle is absent. Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Friend.
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan.
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Citizen comments. Is there anyone in the chamber wishing to speak to the Board of Equalization about an item not on the agenda? Seeing none, we have two resolutions, item D and E. Is there a motion to approve those and adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Rogers, seconded by Commissioner Friend. Roll call.
Commissioner Maureen Boyle.
Yes.
Commissioner Mike Boyle is absent. Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Friend.
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan.
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
We'll move to the agenda for the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Maureen Boyle.
Here.
Commissioner Mike Boyle is absent. Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Friend.
Here.
Commissioner Morgan. Commissioner Rogers.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Present. Item A, approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021. And please note there are minutes available for our pre-board meeting of Monday, June 21st, 2021, and also the Omaha Performing Arts meeting on Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. Also, item B, approval of claims submitted for payment process through Tuesday, July 13th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve A and B?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Morgan, second by Commissioner Rogers. Roll call.
Commissioner Maureen Boyle.
Yes.
Commissioner Kavanaugh. Commissioner Friend.
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan.
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
We'll move to the consent agenda, items A through I. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Rogers, seconded by Commissioner Friend. Commissioner,
Sorry, Madam Chair, if I may, I believe yesterday in the pre-board meeting, we were removing B, item B from the,
are we still removing that? Yes? Okay, yes. So it's A through I minus B. And is that okay with the motion and the seconder?
Yes.
All right. And then Commissioner Kavanaugh, you have a question?
Yes. So B is withdrawn for today?
Yes.
Okay. On H, reallocation of unspent funds for 2021 by the Douglas County Board to hire Baird Home for the purpose of restating the Douglas County Employee Retirement Plan in 2020. Funds went unspent due to delays to plan restatement by COVID. And it appears that we're just reallocating $1,500. I don't know if Joe or somebody, yeah.
Tracy, York County Attorney's Office, what's your question, Commissioner? Is that the question, the
Is
reallocation?
that the question? Is that
Yes,
the
we
amount?
wanted to do a restatement of the pension plan, and I hoped to do that hoped to do that earlier, but due to the pandemic, we're going to do it now. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And in total, we're reallocating $1,500.
Yes, I believe that is accurate.
Okay. And then on I, resolution approving interlocal agreement between Douglas County Attorney's Office and Nebraska HHS, $189,785 just for the public's consumption, what's the purpose of that?
So that's an agreement that we do regularly with HHS. HHS has a program. I'm going to move this back a little bit. I'm getting a little feedback there. HHS has a program where they reimburse county attorneys' offices for their work doing termination of parental rights. And so this is the contract that gives us that state funding for that purpose.
Thank you. That's all.
All right. There was a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda A through I-B. Roll call.
Commissioner Marine Boyle. Yes. Commissioner Kavanaugh. Yes. Commissioner Friend.
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan. Yes. Commissioner Rogers. Yes. Madam Chair.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
And we have moved to recognition and proclamations. We have 4 proclamations recognizing county employees who have retired, and I don't know if any of them are here other than Dr. Poor, but there is recognition for Leslie Huber, who has worked for the Douglas County Environmental Services for 31 years. Julie Forel, who has worked for the Douglas County District Court for 29 years. Dr. Poor for 18 years for the Health Department as Health Department Director. And Ed Lindsay from the Clerk's Office after 26 years. Is there a motion to approve these resolutions?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Morgan, seconded by Commissioner Rogers. And please note that we appreciate all of these employees' services to Douglas County and wish them well on their retirement.
Madam Chair, may I say a few words about Ed Lindsay, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Dan Esch, Douglas County Clerk. And thanks for, this was a late add to the agenda. It really snuck up on me. He's retiring July 9th, and when the preliminary came out, Sherry Larson, the Chief Deputy Clerk, said something to me, and I was like, oh, that's right. The next time the board meets, Ed's not going to be with us anymore. So Ed's a great guy. He was, when I first started back in 2006, I just remember how comfortable he made me feel. I've had a lot of questions, probably to the point where I was very annoying, and he never made me feel that way. I think that the team he leads, I feel like they really have a lot of respect for him, and certainly all of us in the office do too. And he's just a good guy, and we're gonna miss him. I was going to read the resolution, if I may. So whereas Douglas County, Nebraska recognizes that its employees are the county's most important asset and resource for providing quality service to the citizens of Douglas County, and whereas on April 10th, 1995, Ed Lindsay was hired as auditor confidential in the Douglas County Clerk Comptroller's Office, and whereas through his hard work and dedication, Ed Lindsay advanced from auditor confidential to accountant on March 25th, 1999, to auditor/accountant on October 7th, 1999, to auditor in charge on February 11, 2002, and finally to accounts payable supervisor, a position he held from October 27, 2003 up until his retirement. And whereas being a good steward of taxpayer money was very important to Ed Lindsay, and he believed taxpayers expected the Douglas County Clerk Comptroller's Office to collect sufficient and accurate documentation before processing a payment. And whereas Ed Lindsay was consistently helpful and professional, regularly making himself available to colleagues when assistance was needed. And whereas Ed Lindsay always performed his duties with the intention of doing what was best for both the operations of Douglas County government and the citizens of Douglas County. And whereas Douglas County wishes to recognize Ed Lindsay on his retirement after 26 years of dedicated service. So now therefore be it resolved by this Board of County Commissioners, Douglas County, Nebraska, that this board hereby recognizes Ed Lindsay for his dedicated and outstanding service to the residents and employees of Douglas County, and thankfully presents this resolution as testimony thereof, dated this 29th day of June, 2021. Thanks for giving me some time here, and thank you, Ed.
Commissioner Kavanaugh?
Thank you. I'd just like to echo the sentiments of Mr. Esch. Dan was hired by my brother Tom quarter century ago, and has done a stellar job. He's one of the unsung heroes of Douglas County's government, in that he was the, as the resolution indicates, auditor confidential to accountant, auditor, accountant, and auditor in charge. which is an important position relative to keeping a public eye on public money and what goes on in Douglas County. He did this remarkably well and got very little notice for it along his 26 years, and so it's great that at the conclusion of that long, distinguished career, we're giving him the credit that is due to him for the service that he provided to the citizens of Douglas County. He's a great guy, and I know that Tom would be very proud to join us in recognizing his contribution to the people of Douglas County. He worked for you all that time, and he's a embodiment of that ethic that runs through the county clerk's office. And so kudos, Ed, and enjoy your retirement.
With that, there was a motion and a second. Roll call.
Commissioner Marine Boyle. Yes. Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Friend.
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan. Commissioner Rogers.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Citizen comments. Is there anyone in the chamber wishing to speak to the Board of Commissioners about an item not on the agenda?
Larry Storr, 5015 Lafayette Avenue, Omaha, Nebraska, 68132. This might be my final addendum to my comments from previous weeks. I did send you an email. I do have a copy to present, Dan.
Yes, we will make.
So I won't go over everything, but essentially I haven't decided yet if I will file a formal complaint with the Douglas County Attorney and the Attorney General of the state of Nebraska under the Open Meetings Act. Numerous reasons laid out in this. But primarily I want to mention to you that last week on June 17th, I believe it was, the Learning Community Council, which involves the counties of Douglas and Sarpy County, therefore it's part of the governance. Oh, good morning, Louis. Of the county. Their rules, if they do exist at all, are completely different. They weren't printed, number one. They didn't have an agenda that was readable, number two. And number three, they started off the meeting with citizen comments. So citizens cannot comment on anything said during that meeting, but they didn't know what was going to be said anyway. Extremely divided audience. We don't have divided audience here because I'm the only citizen that actually comes down anymore. But in that meeting, the citizen commenters were allowed to be interrupted by people in the audience. They were not called out of order. They were not escorted out. Another inconsistent application of the rules between government bodies. So the gist of my complaint when I finish it, and I have 180 days, but over so many different meetings, I'm not sure which one, I'd like to have ruled null and void. That would be one of them, and some of them in this body and some in the city council. Because the rules between this body, the city council, the learning community, and the state, and all the other bodies are all different. And a lot of these bodies are attempting to remove citizen comments from public meetings altogether. This has been talked about. It's even been talked about here. It's been tried here. And this has to stop because this is for we the people. This is about trying to supersede the Constitution of the United States. Cannot do that. The rest of this will be about the previous topics, such as systemic racism and the continual drumbeat of racism, CRT, the elections, et cetera, all spelled out there, so I won't cover it all. But it's quite apparent to anybody that has the time to peruse all the news sources like I do. You don't, but it's very apparent there is an extreme divide in this country. And if we don't open the discussion for two-way discussions at these bodies, there will be trouble, either from that side, left, or that side, the right. But maybe we can do something in the middle. and have two-way discussions here? I don't believe the Attorney General or the Douglas County attorney ever said that you could not discuss with the citizen. You guys think you can't reply to me unless I'm walking out of here with my back turned to you, and then you think you can. I don't think that's going to cut the mustard with citizens or the Attorney General. So please,
1 minute.
change your rules. I've asked for this to be discussed on the agendas, and you have declined to put it on as a presentation. The citizens are owed that. Oh, finally, the other discussion that needs to be held also is on the matter of Islam. There's some evidence I'm supporting on that.
Anyone else wishing to speak to the board about an item not on the agenda?
Dan Esch, Douglas County Clerk. Well, I actually have another employee leaving as well, but they're not listed on the agenda because we generally recognize the folks that have been here for 15 years or longer. So Jody, I wanted to mention that Jody Campbell, the Finance Division Administrator in the Clerk's Office, will be leaving us this week. She's been here for almost 5 years. She played a big role in the county's annual financial report, and every year Douglas County received the Government Finance Officers Association's Certificate of Achievement for that report. She's very intelligent, very strong accountant. There was a lot of government accounting standards changes these past few years, and then of course, we've a lot of federal money coming in with CARES and ARPA and whatnot over the last year or so. So it was definitely nice having her on board to help us with that stuff and making sure that the county's accounting for everything properly. So I just wanted to publicly thank her for her service to Douglas County. I appreciate the great work she did for us and wish her luck on her next chapter. And thank you again.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Oh, Louise? You're muted, Louise.
Is this citizens' comments?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Good morning, commissioners. I'm glad to see you guys at the dais this time. I want to comment on what has been talked about, your rules of order and the rules of different bodies. I would just add to that is that yes, different bodies have different rules because they have different objectives and they have different work to do. So it's up to the citizens to understand what the representatives are up against or what they have at their disposal to deal with issues. So I'm not concerned about the different rules for the different bodies. I actually welcome it. I'm concerned about the County Board of Commissioners' rules of order because they were scant for many years, and that you guys had a big budget for a long time. I think it was over $100 million. And so I was concerned that your rules were not sufficient to deliberate on the financial issues. But having adopted the Robert's Rules of Order, I'm encouraged that there's participation on these decisions. One last thing I want to add to this is decorum. Decorum is very important, and that's for everybody because it gives extra consideration to privileged members at all times. And I've seen that your parliamentarian does not care for decorum when an issue comes up. For example, when Deloitte's contract was up, your parliamentarian did not consider what a privileged member wanted to do, and that was to delay consideration. I think that there was talk about a layover, and then the parliamentarian said that that wasn't something, and that was unfortunate. So I hope that decorum is maintained at all public bodies, especially for privileged members, because they represent the people, and the people want their representative to be treated with high regard. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak to the Board of Commissioners about an item not on the agenda? Seeing none, we will move to presentations, and we're going to move a couple of these around. The first one will be to designate the Omaha Triathlon to be held July 18, 2021 as a special event under Nebraska LB 589. It's to notify the state it accepts the duties imposed by such law regarding the temporary use of state roads for the event which fall within Douglas County's jurisdiction. Is there a motion to approve? Was that Commissioner Kavanaugh? Yes. Commissioner Kavanaugh made the motion. Commissioner Maureen Boyle seconded it. And good morning, Dan.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dan Kudelak, Douglas County Engineers Office. I have with me today the director of the Omaha Triathlon Race, Alan Cole, and he'll be speaking towards the event. But I'm just here to tell you that the county engineer has reviewed this route, and we have met with the Omaha Police Division and the Douglas County Sheriff to handle the policing of the event, and we would recommend approval of this special use permit from the state of Nebraska is required in order to allow us to close a portion of the race which is on Highway 36. And the portion that the county is actually only approving, if you can see on this drawing, is west of Newport Landing Lake, about 183rd Street in the blue segment out to 204th Street. The rest of the race on Highway 36 and ending up, by the way, at Standing Bear Lake is within the jurisdictions of Bennington and the city of Omaha. And they also have to request this special use permit. So with that, I'll introduce you to Alan Cole, the director of the race.
Thanks. I'm here for any questions, and this is the 12th year.
Could you just state your name again?
Oh, yes. My name is Alan Cole. I'm the race director for the Omaha Triathlon. So,
thank you. All right. We do have a question from Commissioner Friend.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alan, thank you for what you're doing. I actually had a quick question for Dan. Is that all right? Can we
sure.
Switch spots? Dan, this could be a little bit of my ignorance, and there's, I've shown it before, but I'm going to show it again. What type of notice between now and the 18th are a lot of the folks going to get, you know, for the, I mean, I think you alluded to it a little bit, but yeah, I've heard things and seen things where people go, hey, whoa, we don't have the type of notice we need.
As soon as we get approved today, I have many steps we do. Best thing we do is put yard signs all along the course, and it reference our website so they can get more information. And then I canvass anywhere along the course with flyers, and hopefully they'll go to our website. And quite often we get emails, but regardless of the situation, as Maureen Boyle knows recently when we did a recent triathlon out by Flanagan, no matter what, somebody thinks they're going to be inconvenienced. In all cases, if somebody needs to get out, either Douglas County Sheriff or the Omaha Police Department will find a way when it's safe to get between bikers so that people don't decide on their own to go out on the course. We dealt with this with the age group national championships, going up to Boyer Chute, kind of working around people's difficulties and trying to make sure that they're accommodated as best possible. The race is starting very early in the morning at 6 a.m., so we expect, without any weather delays, that most bikers, which is this is only the bike portion, will be off the course by 9 o'clock at latest, and that's the last bikers coming back to Standing Bear Lake. They won't be way out at 190th and Highway 36. So as the course, the last bikers get off, the police will open that portion of the course as the bikers leave the course. So
Yeah, no,
that makes sense.
Good information. As soon as I can access my hacked Facebook account, I'll help you promote that. Promote that effort.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
we get people on Nextdoor and they post, and there's always
Yeah.
people that think they can't get out or they want to go out a certain way when there's an alternate way out, so we just have to deal with them. Usually the first year of the race is when we have the most complaints, and they're usually a handful of people that are the most boisterous is what we usually, and I will personally go visit them if need be, or make phone calls. But sometimes, as you experience with the recent person, she emailed everybody on your board as well as called everybody, and that happens every once in a while too. You just have to try to deal with them most diplomatically as possible. So,
Thanks for the info. Thank you.
Commissioner Kavanaugh?
Mr. Cole, so this is a triathlon, which is 3 events.
Right.
Is this portion the bike portion of it, or is there other portions in this?
it's only the bike, so that we have to close. We keep everything within Standing Bear Lake for the run and the swim. So if we get a flood, we'll swim down Highway 36 maybe.
So this is happening on Sunday, July 18th.
Right.
And the assembly is at 6 a.m. or the kickoff is at 6 a.m.?
We jump in the lake at 6 a.m. is the plan, and so by the time most people get out of the lake, it'll be about 6:30 that they'll be on their bikes, from 6:30 to about 9. So.
Okay, so the swim leg is first, and then the bike leg, and then is there a third leg that day?
There's a run, around Standing Bear Lake. So.
And that's on this map as well?
No, we don't need to close. That's just within the city park. So that we work with the parks director on that.
So the Omaha Triathlon, is that your organization?
Yeah, it's a nonprofit that we started in 2010, and we've hosted the age group national championships 2 years, 2016 and 17, with USA Triathlon, and this will be our 12th year of the Omaha Triathlon. Even got it off last year with the pandemic on a limited basis. So.
Sure. So in your last full years, full year, I guess that would have been 2019. What kind of a crowd did you have, participant-wise? And
triathlons, had its peak in 2010 through 12, and then it kind of our numbers went down, and they've been steadily going back up again. Especially post-pandemic, people are pretty anxious to try out their new bikes and race and get healthy. So I think the trend is the numbers are going up. So we expect 3 to 350 on the bike this year. Our peak in 2010 and 11 was probably about 600. So we're building back up towards those numbers. So
now these triathletes, are they all from Douglas County, or do they come from all over?
No, we have probably 10 to 20% that are from out of state, Iowa. People somebody from Texas, Phoenix, that come in because they want to do a race in a different venue. So it depends on the year. I think this year, still people are traveling, but maybe not as far. So we have a lot of people driving in from Minnesota and Iowa and Kansas, typically. So
that's great. In addition to being the executive director of this, do you also compete?
I wish. I don't have time. I have 2 little boys, 2 and 4 right now, so they keep me running around the driveway more than.
You look very fit, anyhow. So.
Oh, okay. Well, it's because of the 2 little kids.
Well, thanks for doing this. This is a great event and a great contribution to our community. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks. Any more questions, I guess?
Commissioner Maureen Boyle?
Yep, so just along the lines of Commissioner Kavanaugh too, I really like encouraging these types of events to occur, mostly because we not only get visitors to our community, but it's really just the health aspect. So anything we can do to support these types of things, I'm 100% behind. The second thing is I really do appreciate how passionate you are about pursuing something like this. I know it does inconvenience some citizens, and some of them can be pretty vocal about their opposition to it because of the inconvenience for a few hours on a Sunday morning. And I completely understand that. At the same time, I just appreciate the fact that you're willing to actually go and speak with these people directly to get them on board. So more than anything, this is just an expression of support, and anything that improves the health of our community, I'm all on board. So thank you for what you're doing.
Okay, well, maybe you guys can come out and maybe we'll do the Douglas County board run sometimes, and you
gonna
guys
be a
can all
walk.
lead the race.
It'll be a walk.
I'd love to see Mr. Kudelek. I think he's one of your star performers.
There you
go. Event.
I don't think so.
All right, thanks a lot.
Alan, I want to also add, thank you. I was involved, if you remember, when you did it out in the Valley area. Is Hal still involved with the?
Yeah, he pushes people's buttons when needs be. Yeah. Yes.
So we got her done. That was the main thing. But
Yeah, that's a challenging part of our county.
yes. But glad you're back and having it, and so best of luck to you.
Yeah, we were planning to have it at Cunningham, but Brook Bench had some issues with construction delays and issues. So otherwise, we'll probably plan on being at Cunningham next year.
Good, great. All right, with that, roll call?
Commissioner Marine Boyle? Yes. Commissioner Kavanaugh? Yes. Commissioner Friend?
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan? Yes. Commissioner Rogers?
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thanks.
Thanks, Alan.
All right.
We'll move to item E of presentations, a COVID update and COVID-19 vaccination plan by our one and only Dr. Adipur.
Good morning, Commissioner. Adipur, Douglas County Health Department, and this will be my last report. So it's going to be short and sweet, and I probably couldn't have written it better than it is in actuality. So in regards to cases, we have 12.6% of our population in Douglas County that has tested positive for COVID. And that is 32% from the state of Nebraska. When we look at the testing, 354,469 people have been tested in Douglas County. That is 62% of our all population. But in addition, we have actually done 1,048,575 tests. And that, I think, again, is a kudos to Test Nebraska that we had these opportunities in our community that made it easy for anybody who wanted to get tested. Our 7-day rolling average, which is kind of a measure that is used nationwide, we are at 2 new cases per 100,000. That adds up to about 11 cases per day in Douglas County. And that is good news. Over the last 4 weeks, we have really seen a steady low level. And I just report to you the cases: 86 4 weeks ago, 85 3 weeks ago, 81 2 weeks ago, and 83 last week. So we have not seen any spikes, and I do think from all the activities that we have had in our community, it would be too early to actually expect to see any increase. Potentially next week we may see a slight increase. Our positivity rate is at 2.2%, and just to make you all aware, we said it needs to be below 5%, and we have been below 5% now for quite a while. When we look at the cases, and I look at it over the pandemic, has there been any discrepancy? And I really would want to say yes. Our Hispanic community has experienced a disproportional level of cases, mainly 21.7%. They only make up 13.4% of our community. Hospitalization is good news too. We have in the Omaha area hospitals last night, we had 12 cases. 8 of them are in the ICU and 2 of them are only on ventilators. And that is now for 4 days in a row where our hospital capacity of individuals with COVID is below 20. And that is, I hope we can stay that way. I'm just going to answer Commissioner Boyle. I do not know the age ranges of those who are hospitalized, because both you and I would like to know that, but we don't have that data at this time. Our deaths, we are at 730 deaths at this time from the beginning of the pandemic. As you know, that is 730 too many lives, and I feel really sorry for that we have lost. 32.3% of all the Nebraska deaths in Douglas County. Our case fatality rate has remained around 1%. When we look at death, I did the same thing as with the cases. Are we seeing a disproportionately comparison to what our population looks like? And yes, we do. Our white Caucasian have had a disproportionately death fatality rate compared to what they are making up in our population. Mainly 74.9% of our deaths are in our white population. They only make up 67.9%. All the other races are at or below the population rate in our community. So going over vaccinations a little bit, we have administered 666,656 vaccines in Douglas County. That's 36.3% of what the state of Nebraska has allocated. You know, we do not make up 36% of the Nebraska population. So that is kudos to our community, how much vaccine we have delivered in our community. 554,888 were given to Douglas County residents, and as you can imagine, the others were given to individuals who come from outside of Douglas County, but in the beginning they had to work in Douglas County, but now of course it's opened up. We are giving vaccines to anybody who wants and is eligible to. I have not received a text yet, but I'm holding my breath. I think one of my wishes is going to go through. As of yesterday, we had 49.9% of our total population totally vaccinated. And I just wanted to stand up here and say we have reached the goal, but we have not yet. But I'm sure by the time I retire on Monday, we will have we have reached that goal. And that compares, those 49.9 compares to 47.9 across Nebraska. So again, you know, many of you have seen the article in yesterday's Omaha World Herald, and it really shows how urban communities have done very well in vaccinating individuals. Kudos to our community. 63.6% of Douglas County adults have received at least one vaccine. And that compares to the national goal where everybody wanted to be at 70% with one dose. So that 63.6%, let me say correctly, is fully vaccinated adults. 67.4% are adults with one dose. So that 67.4% compares to the goal of 70% by the 4th of July. I have my doubts that we are reaching that goal. When we look at ages, I am so proud to say, when we look at those above 65 years of age, 97.1% have received one dose. When we break it down even further, there is one age group, 65 to 74, and I know some of us are in that age group. 99.7% have received one dose. That means just about everyone in that 65 to 75 age group has received one vaccine. You know, we know that those individuals are the most vulnerable. They are the most likely that are going to go visit the hospital and potentially may have some bad outcome of it. So this is really what we focused on from the beginning, and this is what we have reached at this time. Race and ethnicity, we are still seeing discrepancy, and we have seen it from the beginning, and we do not seem to be able to close that gap. So white Caucasians, 52.1% of them have received one dose. African American, 32.6%. Native American, 45%. Asian, 54.7%. They are still at the highest. Hispanics, 40.9%. Again, with all the reach out that we have done to our minority communities, we still see that gap. We have now changed over to these pop-up clinics. If any of you have seen our very colorful vans that we are going out there, and we have about, in a day, every day, about 6 different pop-up clinics. These are usually about 3-hour clinics. We are in parking lots of libraries. Mainly this week, we are in parking lots of schools. Metro Community College, we are on all campuses, and I tell you, the schools are really doing a good job. However, we have seen, as you heard nationwide, we have seen the numbers going down. So I thought we didn't have a pop-up clinic with 0 vaccines, but they had to tell me this morning we did have one. So, unfortunately, that is happening. And the highest one last week actually gave 53 vaccines. And that's still good. I think we are trying to see what more opportunities do we need to provide, because some of you may have seen, JAMA had an article in the paper that talks about there are this group that are hesitant. They just are not quite sure. They are reading a lot. They are hearing a lot on social media. But then there is this other group, which they call apathy. They just don't care about it. And so, the outreach to these individuals needs to be different, and the PR needs to be different. And so I put it back on our team to really see what do we need to encourage everyone to get vaccinated, because we know the vaccines work. 2 of our clinics, the CHI clinic and the Methodist clinic, community clinic, they have closed. They are closed now. We are closing the one on 35th and L Street on the 8th of July, and Nebraska Medicine is closing theirs too next week. They have the last clinic there. Variants, you hear a lot of discussion about variants in the paper. We have, as of the last report, 932 variants have been sequenced. Most of them, like 88% of them, are the UK variant. And only 8 or 0.8% are so far the Delta variant, which we know has a higher transmissibility rate. That's kind of my report for you today. You heard yesterday the governor also ended the public health emergency. And so, it all fits together with me retiring. So a good day for all. Do you have any questions?
Commissioner Maureen Boyle?
The good news is, Carol just told me we have reached 50%.
Oh, yay.
And with that, you may retire, Dr. Boer. So just a few questions. When the clinics are closing, Methodist and all that, so in order for a person to get a vaccine now, they call Douglas County, or will this be available now through family practice or internal medicine clinics?
Correct. CHI and Methodist, they are working now through their family practice clinics. So that's how they inform their patients and so on. Anybody who still wants to get vaccinated should call 444-3400, so we can lead them and can see what is most comfortable. We will have a standing clinic at the health department every Friday. We'll keep that going, so everybody can walk in on a Friday. We have all 3 vaccines available. They can choose. But the clinics are now transferring over to their family practice clinics.
Very good, very good. My questions are kind of all over the map. Do you know the percentage of our racial and ethnic background vaccination rates in Douglas County versus those of the U.S. population?
No, I don't know that comparison, Doc.
Okay. Then do you know when vaccinations are going to be rolled out to kids? I heard the fall sometime potentially.
We still don't have a timeline. Everybody talks fallish time.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the last one is, of course, with the College World Series going on, and the teams were knocked out because of their COVID. Can you just speak to that? Do you have any thoughts about that?
So I just want to make it clear, there was a little bit misinformation in the paper that made it sound like the health department made recommendation. The health department did not make any recommendation. This was purely an NCAA decision. We looked, they shared their protocols with us beforehand. We thought they had good protocols in place. They had their own contact tracers. we stood by and said, if you need anything, and they did. On Friday, they asked for testing. They wanted to test more people than they had the capacity for, so we organized, my team, and I think some of my team is here, organized testing through Nebraska Public Health Lab. We woke up on Saturday morning the same as anybody else, not knowing that the NCA made that decision. So I just want to make clear, we always work with these teams. We worked with the swim trials, really great, and we will continue to work and see what do we need to do to help them, assist them.
Very good. I think that's all I've got, right? Thanks.
No other questions at this time? Oh, Commissioner Rogers?
Dr. Poole, I just want to, so just in regards to that situation, I guess the question I'm wondering, the Delta variant is more potent, more contagious, but does it manifest itself, signs and symptoms, any faster, or does it manifest itself the same as the previous original variant?
I couldn't understand.
Does the Delta variant that got into that ran through the NC State team, we know that those are more potent, more contagious, but does it manifest itself faster than the original one? Meaning the other one, it's a couple of days, 2 days to run through. Does that process go any faster?
I have not heard of any difference in that. The biggest difference is really to transmissibility.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
No other questions or comments, but don't go too far, Dr. Poore, because this will begin our presentations for Dr. Poore, and on behalf of the county board, we'd like to start out with a video that we have made for you. Dr. Poore, we have put this video together to show you our appreciation and thank you for your dedication to the citizens of Douglas County. You have tackled some very, very hard issues, from STDs all the way to the current pandemic. And you have led with grace, and you have led with honesty and perseverance. We thank you so much for your service, and we wish you the best of luck and a happy, happy retirement.
Dr. Poore, the Department of Corrections wants to thank you for all of the assistance that you and your department have given us over the last few years, but especially the past 18 months. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Dr. Poore. I'm so happy I've been given this opportunity to send you away with a final thank you. We appreciate so much your guidance over the last year. I remember a call that I had received from you last March, and you offered any resources or assistance, and that was a true game changer for my staff and my residents. So we're forever indebted to you. The county is so very lucky to have had you at the helm for the last 20 years. We will miss you. Congratulations, stay well, and enjoy your retirement.
Hi, this is Sherry Glassnap, and on behalf of the Douglas County Community Mental Health Center, Dr. Poore, we would like to wish you a very happy retirement. I really enjoyed the opportunity to begin working with you in regard to strengthening behavioral health within the Douglas County community. Unfortunately, we then entered COVID. What an amazing person you were during COVID, and all the work you did in regard to making sure that we were keeping Douglas County residents as healthy as we possibly could. You are going to be greatly missed. We hope you enjoy your future. Thank you.
Hey, Dr. Poore, Brad Alexander with the Douglas County Youth Center. I want to take this opportunity to wish you all the best in your retirement and truly thank you for all that you've done for the Douglas County Youth Center, the people that work over there, the kids we take care of. Your advice, your counsel has been invaluable over these last 18 months. And really just what you've done for Douglas County as a whole. During the press conferences, you just came across as a trusted friend that we really could lean on and look to for guidance and counsel, and we really do appreciate all that you've done and wish you all the best in your retirement. Thanks for everything.
Hello, Dr. Poore. Back when you were giving us weekly updates on the status of COVID, you were talking about vaccinations and there was scarcity. There were a lot of concerns about people jumping the line. At that point, you said something that meant a lot to me. You said, We need to get the vaccines into human beings' arms. I respect your intelligence, I understand your integrity, but that statement was a testament to your character, and it is that statement for which I admire you the most. So thank you for everything that you've done to protect our community, and have a great retirement.
Dr. Poor, congratulations on your many years of outstanding service to the people of Douglas County. Your leadership in the recent COVID-19 pandemic has really been appreciated and outstanding. Also, congratulations on your retirement. Stay well.
Dr. Poor, congratulations on your retirement. Thank you so much for your service. You're nearly 40 years of service, 20 with the department and then 20 over the last year. I can only imagine what that was like. We all lived through it, but thank you for your leadership, your guidance through all of the things that we've had to deal with. I wanted to, again, thank you for the service. If you ever need anything from us going forward, obviously you can just call. It's been a pleasure working with you, and thank you so much. Take care.
Dr. Poor, I just want to thank you for your almost 20 years of great service to Douglas County and the residents here. You've done an outstanding job, and you've communicated with the county board so fantastically, especially this last year and a half, which has been pretty tough on your department, and I know that you put a great team together. I just want to wish you the best in retirement, and I doubt that you'll be retired very long. I'm sure you're going to have some other things you'll be doing, and that's a great contribution to our community and a great service. Thank you again, Dr. Poor, for almost 20 years.
Dr. Poor, it's Chris Rogers. Just wanted to express my sincere thanks, a little bit of sadness. It's hard to believe after 20 years you're finally going. I know we've talked about it a lot of times, but I just want to say thank you on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, on behalf of the members of the Board of Health, for all the hard work over the years. We've been through a lot together, H1N1, Ebola, now this, and just the transformation of what public health means in the community. So thank you for everything, and I wish you a happy retirement.
And Dr. Poor, while Commissioner Mike Boyle isn't with us, he does send his best wishes and thanks you for all of your service to Douglas County. And with that, I would ask the board members to please step forward in front of us so we can present Dr. Poor with her plaque and resolution.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. One more.
Thanks.
Chairwoman, can I say a few things?
Absolutely.
I just want to say I couldn't have done it without you. And you probably never realized, but I always knew I had your support. I always knew I could call you whenever I had a question, and you would always be honest to me. And that really means a lot. So you also were a board that really stood behind me and stood behind the health department. You have great employees at the health department. So I hope your advice and your wisdom can come forward and that you will share it with the department. And also, if you hear criticism, you are the ears in the community. Please bring it up to them. So I appreciate all the work you have done. I couldn't have asked for a better board. So thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Poor. With that, we will move on to a presentation for Dr. Poor by the Douglas County Board of Health. Commissioner Rogers?
So, Dr. Poor, you can come back up. And I'm asking former Councilman Gray to come up too. He's gonna. The interesting thing, I've asked Ben to present this to her because the interesting tie here is Ben's wife, Freddie Gray, was, I think, the president of the Board of Health when Dr. Poor was hired. And Commissioner Borgeson was the liaison there, so this is kind of bringing both worlds. And on behalf of the Board of Health, Dr. Poor, we wanted to give you something that you could put on your desk to remember us there in the Borsheim's box. But then in the discussions, Board of Health-wise, we were thinking, you know, what could we give you? And being that you were going to go on vacation, everybody just said give her something to play with. So there's a $250 gift card there from the Board of Health for you to do whatever you want to do on vacation. And on behalf of everybody, like I said, we can't say it enough. We're gonna miss you. No staff's gonna miss you, but we just wanted you to know thank you for everything and wish you the best in retirement.
Thank you so much. This is too much. And honestly, I am so humbled. And when I am enjoying my vacation with these little check, believe me, I don't know if you are the first on my mind. But thank you so much. This is too much.
Oh, it's good. This is good. Just a couple of comments, if you all don't mind. Ben Gray, 6946 North 54th Street, member of the Board of Health. It is with great honor and pride. My wife, as was mentioned earlier, was part of the group along with Mary Ann, who brought Dr. Poor to Omaha and hired her. And, you know, when I got up this morning, you know, I reminded my wife that, you know, Dr. Poor was going to be receiving this honor. And she didn't say anything. She just kind of looked at me. And so I figured I better get down here and take part in this. Otherwise, I'm going to be calling some of you all to see if I can sleep on your couch. But anyway, it was, it has been an honor. And I don't know what we would have done had it not been for you and and specifically you and the staff. I want to recognize the staff back there because they worked more hours than I have ever, and I'm in the military and have done a number and been in television and other things. I have never seen the kind of work that these folks put in. They all ought to be rewarded every day for the kind of thing that they do. But for you, Dr. Poor, it has been extremely special, and I thank you very much, and there are no words to describe the professionalism that you brought to this department and the work that you did to get us through this very difficult pandemic. Thank you.
You might want to stay up here, Dr. Poor. You got to stay up here.
Dr. Poor, the next one is a presentation by Omaha Mayor Gene Stothert honoring Douglas County Health Director on your retirement.
Good morning, Commissioners. Gene Stothert, Mayor of Omaha, 1819 Farnham. Thank you this morning for the opportunity to congratulate and thank a true friend and partner. Early in 2020, I received the first briefing from Dr. Poor about COVID-19 and what we might expect in Nebraska. Immediately, the COVID-19 Unified Command was initiated, the Douglas County Health Department hotline was established, and critical planning and public communication started. COVID has reminded us that in times of need, communities pull together, help, and support each other. Our response to the pandemic has been so effectively guided by Dr. Poor and her team at the Douglas County Health Department. Their commitment never wavered. During a public emergency, the Omaha City Code delegates decision-making authority to the Douglas County Health Director. Today, a year and a half after she first briefed me on the first threats, Dr. Poor continues to guide us. I am grateful for her partnership and her professionalism. Leadership can be difficult and unpopular, as we all know. And while we cannot minimize the personal losses from COVID and the financial impact on families, businesses, and our community, we acknowledge and we appreciate Dr. Poor's actions, which have been instrumental in the testing and vaccination programs, public education, outreach, and communication. So this morning, to recognize her and her career, I would like to read a proclamation on behalf of the citizens of Omaha. Whereas, for nearly 20 years, Dr. Adi Poor has served the citizens of Douglas County as the health director. Over the last 18 months, the COVID-19 pandemic has brought new urgency and public awareness to the role of public health departments and administrations. And whereas, in partnership with the City of Omaha, the State of Nebraska, and infectious disease experts, Dr. Poor anticipated the severity and spread of the coronavirus, responded with necessary community actions, and effectively communicated the often challenging threats and medical interventions. And whereas, Dr. Poor has guided us with expertise, decisiveness, and compassion, understanding the pandemic has upended families, work, business, school, travel, every aspect of all of our lives. Each difficult decision was made to protect public health and hospital capacity and save lives. And whereas Dr. Poor has demonstrated the greatest trait of leadership throughout her career, which is ownership, integrity, respect for others, and transparency. Her work will have lasting outcomes for all of our community. Now, therefore, I, Jean Stothert, Mayor of the City of Omaha, do hereby proclaim June 29th, 2021 as Dr. Adi Poor Appreciation Day for her tremendous commitment to public service and the health and safety of the citizens of Omaha and Douglas County. We wish you well in your retirement, Dr. Poor. Now, I'm not done. There's one more thing. If you could walk up here with me, Dr. Poor. There is one privilege that only the Mayor of Omaha has, and that is to honor extraordinary people for extraordinary work and service to our community. I'd like to present you with the key to the city. I won't tell her what it opens.
I was going to say. Mayor, just stay here for a second. I just want to say something. You know, the mayor and I have given so many news conferences, and you cannot imagine, Mayor, how often I'm being approached by citizens who say these news conferences that we two held really gave them solemn. They gave them the questions, answered the questions that they have, and so on. So we were able to do that for the community, and I think that is a testament to you. And hopefully, you know, we tried our best every time, and those things were long, and questions were hard sometimes, but we did it for the community. So, Mayor, I want to thank you for the support you have given me. I couldn't have done it by myself.
Thank you. I think we counted up, we gave over 30 press conferences. So we worked real hard at trying to keep people informed. So thank you.
Very good. Very good.
Dr. Poor.
Dr.
Poor. Dr. Poor. Dr. Poor.
Dr. Poor.
You need to stay.
We have one more presentation. This presentation is a Distinguished Citizen Award for 2021 presented to Dr. Adi Poor, Health Director, by the West Point Society of Nebraska and Western Iowa. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Board of Health, and everyone here. As I parked my car this morning, I was thanked for my service 4 times. So I would like, and in the past few years, I thanked public school teachers for their service. And obviously, This year we began to thank healthcare workers finally for their service. For this moment, I would like to thank you for your role in democracy, from the commissioners to the board to the concerned citizens. And just thank you for your service. I'm Colonel Vince Lindenmeyer, 10152 Olive Street in La Vista, and I'm the president of the West Point Society of Nebraska and Western Iowa. So thank you for this opportunity. We've been asking to present this award since March, and Mr. Kelso was kind to fit us into this distinguished presentation ceremony. So thank you for this time. We present a Distinguished Citizens Award each year for a citizen who represents the ideals of West Point: duty, honor, country. And they dedicate themselves to a lifetime of service to the country. During this most difficult year, including losing one of our own West Point Society past presidents, Colonel Rob Madden, who survived combat, survived cancer, but did not survive COVID here in Douglas County. The West Point Society desires to highlight the selfless service, perseverance, dedication of all medical professionals. Dr. Poor, your leadership, vision, personal courage, tenacity in zealously protecting humanity in the face of adversity is 100% aligned and consistent with West Point's ideals. For these reasons, the Society's Board of Directors received numerous unsolicited nominations, selecting you as our 2021 West Point Society of Nebraska, Western Iowa Distinguished Citizen. Thank you, happy retirement, and Godspeed.
I just want to say one thing. I am so honored, and I am so full. You cannot imagine. And I hope I can live, and I lived up to the value that West Point has. Instead of country, I think for me, it meant community, because that's really what I had in front of me all the time. So thank you for this honor. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very, very much. I think we have someone on Zoom that would like to make a comment.
Yes.
Luis?
Yes. Luis Jimenez, 3306 Bird Street. I'll be brief. I also want to acknowledge the service that the health director has provided for the county and the city. But I want to bring up the difficulty that was brought, not just by the citizens that didn't want to follow health directives, but by the government, the local government, especially Governor Pete Ricketts. But through that, we're here today at 50% fully vaccinated. I think that is going to help us get past the pandemic. But as to the mayor's, as to the health director's retirement, I think it's a stupendous reason to retire, that you would want to spend more time with the people that you love. Good luck and best wishes to Dr. Poor.
Thank you, Luis. Anyone else wishing to make comments at this time? With that, I will close out the presentations again with a huge, huge thank you to Dr. Poor. And as Councilman Gray pointed out to the team, you guys are shining stars here in Douglas County. And again, on behalf of the board, we congratulate you, thank you, and happy retirement. Thank you, Dr. Poor. All right. That would have been a good note to end on, actually, but we have a few more things. We have a public hearing. This is the extending the public hearing that happened last week on our 1 in 6 highway improvement plan. This opens the public hearing. Are there any further comments during this public hearing? With that, then, I will close the public hearing. What's the will of the board? Oh, sorry, Commissioner, I'm sorry, I didn't look at your light.
Okay.
Yeah, you can speak now.
I didn't.
During the public, or you could, the public
No,
hearing was closed, but
well,
he's got to speak first.
I wasn't. I'm at a loss. No, thank you, Madam Chair. I've talked to, a big part of this job, of course, as everybody, as most people know, at least some people know, to visit and communicate with constituents. Last night I got I wouldn't say it's unique. I mean, I've done it before, but I got a really good opportunity to visit with probably at least 50 people in the rain for a while, and then not, over at 71st and State Street, because some of the things that are happening over there are part of the 1 to 6 year plan. I also, this morning in my email box, received a spreadsheet with 1,330 signatures from residents in that area of the community that are essentially saying they want either the status or the timeframes or the projects reevaluated from the standpoint of when they're actually going to occur, right? Specifically speaking, there's a strip from 171st Street to 177th Street on State Street that is quite a picturesque area, if you will. People used to go out there to get wedding pictures taken and stuff like that. Right now, if they did it, the traffic is intense, and that's a bad idea. The point is, I communicated with these constituents, and I let them know last night, I think, a few things. One, progress is coming. I also mentioned that 50 or 60 years ago, if anybody was around, and I was 50 years ago, West Dodge Road was 2 or 3 lanes. West Dodge Road no longer exists. It's an expressway. And some of these discussions are really tough because that's happening up on State. It's happening on Ida. It's happening on some of these areas in my district and Commissioner Borgeson's district in particular. What I would also say, my concern, and what some of the citizens concerned, was that they didn't have a whole lot of notice, right? And I know Dan's heard some of this a little bit, and maybe some of the engineers have heard it. I actually heard about it 2 weeks ago. So it's probably bad on me. I mean, I should have done some more investigation. But this is a big deal, and they're a little worried about the lack of notice that they received. So that was one of the things. I finally communicated, and I think it's fair for anybody that was at that meeting, they would probably verify this. I said, the security and safety of the citizens in this county is one of the primary functions of county government. And if that extension of State Street, lowering, going up to the jump on 168th and State, is actually going to increase the safety in this area, that's paramount to me. Some of the citizens offered some mitigating factors, and if you guys will bear with me just for a little bit, I don't know how much time I have, but I'd like to just get through these, and then maybe we can communicate a little bit about it. They would have liked more time to plan. I mean, there's a lot of things happening in a short period of time, and I don't know if the engineers can speak to that. It'd be nice. I would have liked to have more time to actually communicate with them what I understand about the project, but that ship has sailed. Why this particular section is first, there was a huge issue about that. I know 168th and State That is a jump. People drive through there fast. I know Dan and I have talked about it briefly. In my opinion, that
1 minute.
that would, thank you, Madam Chair. That would have been first. I'd lower that road and I'd start doing some stuff right in there, but it's not my call, right? But citizens shared that view. The other thing is they'd like to know if there are some reevaluation mechanics involved in this. So in other words, can you move things around? Can you use street calming devices that maybe aren't implemented yet? I don't know. Roundabouts, traffic lights going into 171st. Guys, I don't know the answers to these questions, but maybe we can talk further about it. The citizens brought up some significant concerns in regard to mitigation, and I'd like maybe some of the board's view on whether, I don't like delays because they cost more money, but I really would like, I feel like I'm shooting in the dark a little bit. And I think that the constituents maybe do deserve a little bit more information.
But you
So
do,
thank
no
you.
one else is in the queue, so if you want to go ahead and continue.
No, and real quick, there were a couple of other items. Maybe myself and some of the other board members, I can't speak for the other board members, but I know there are traffic statistics. Why certain areas of State Street were the most important from a traffic congestion standpoint. I know that there are probably studies. I can grab hold of those, but I think the citizens, if they're public record, should have some of that stuff too. The other thing is, I think that this is part of the aesthetic discussion, right? There's probably and Dan and I did talk about this as well, and I kind of agree with him in regard to this. In the right-of-way, we talked about that aesthetic aspect of it, that there's at least 55 trees in a strip right down in there, and folks are like, my life is changing drastically, and it is. But there's also a danger, and most of those trees are going to be removed. Anywhere from 40 to 45 of those trees are 4 feet from the road. So there's nothing you can do. If you're going to widen that road, those trees have to go. So the reality is this. Are there any mitigation factors involved in that? I frankly told the folks last night, I don't think so. Now, they asked, and I feel like I have to give them a better answer than I don't think so. But I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, and I'm not an engineer. So, look, guys, I'm not trying to roadblock this thing, no pun intended. What I'd like to do, I think that there is a 1,300 signatures speak volumes. If one of the other commissioners got 1,300 signatures from a constituent, I'll guarantee they would have taken at least 8 minutes to talk about it. So I don't know where to go from here. I think that it's probably going to move forward. If I had to go anywhere, I would like to say that I think 168th and State, the jump, if we had a mitigating factor, I'd like to do that first. And then I'd like another 3 or 4 months to actually deal with the stuff between 171st and 177th, which is actually going to happen. I did communicate with them last night. Guys, this is coming. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Can we juggle? And look, I've been in business virtually my whole life, and we've changed plans before. I just don't want it to affect our budget, and I don't want to affect timelines in regard to engineers making valuable decisions based on safety and the safety and the security of its citizens. So I'd leave it with that. I'd open it up for anything if people want to speak to the issue. But thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Frank. Commissioner Maureen Boyle?
So just to piggyback on that a little bit, I know last week there was a public hearing on this, and so I was just wondering, just because I don't know, I'm new to this, what are the citizens made aware of these public hearings with these projects? As the engineer's office do impact studies on the environment as well, and then what type of citizen input do they receive before they draw up these plans for us? Because when I first looked at the agenda last week and saw this, to be honest, and again, I'm assuming it's because I'm new, it was the first I'd heard about all of this, and I'm just curious how they come up with the projects. Is there studies that look at the environment as well? And then what opportunities do citizens have ahead of time to know that these projects are going to be in their neighborhoods? And like I said, more than anything, I'd just like to know how that information is made public.
Okay, thank you. Well, I wasn't prepared to speak to this today, but I can just tell you how the process works.
Mr. Kudela, could you?
Dan Kudela,
Thank
County Engineer's Office. It takes years, multiple years, to get to construction, all of our projects. That's why we have a 1 and 6 year plan. It is published for a public meeting 3 times in the Daily Record. Sometimes the World Herald will do stories on it if there's a project of interest, but it is made public. You know, if you have your antenna up and into these things, you can come to the meeting and discuss it. A lot of people call me. A lot of people come out to our office. A lot of the representatives, the president of SID boards or homeowners associations, they call us and we talk to them, and we assume they're transferring the information to their neighbors. What happened in this particular project is that a developer bought the property in that area, a couple properties actually, there's 2 SIDs involved, and the city of Omaha, through their subdivision regulations, require all kinds of things to develop property in the city's ETJ, the extraterritorial zoning area, where they all are being built basically. One of them is street improvements. They require a 3-lane road in front of all new subdivisions, for the most part, minimum. You know, it'd be the minimum improvement that's needed for turn lanes and safety and sight distance and things of that nature. They are asked to come out to Douglas County and work with the county engineer to put together an interlocal agreement to build the project. And that includes a plan, scope of work, funding, who pays for what, that type of thing. So the SID is directly involved. We're partners with them. These are really SID-driven projects, sanitary improvement district projects. So there's all kinds of public notification, even with that entity. They're a quasi-government of that neighborhood. So why 1,300 people signed this petition, I don't know. It's not unusual for the county or the city, or for anybody for that matter, to take trees down in public right-of-way to improve a road. Probably very few exceptions in my experience. We had an opinion from the county attorney years ago that the public right-of-way is for roadway purposes. You know, if you put anything in public right-of-way, it's at your own risk. That includes trees, sprinkler systems, entrance markers, that type of thing. So, you know, we're following, I think, the regulations that are required and the statutes that are required. And as far as flip-flopping the projects, Commissioner, that 168th and State is a different level of costs. I think it's 6 or 7 million. And we had to wait for those corners to develop to generate the cost sharing to pay for that. And that has been coordinated with this particular project on 171st. So we have coordinated it, but we do not have that money in our budget to flip-flop them. We just don't. This project is nowhere near the 6 million. Our share is much less than that. So years and years are taking place to get these projects to construction. Anyone's welcome to look at our 1 and 6. It's on our website. And if they see something that's interesting to them, they should call us. We can talk to them. We're open to any suggestions, believe me.
Okay, thank you. Time? Did you have additional, there's no one else in the queue. Did you want your second 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I appreciate the information. I think just as I know the Daily Record is our go-to for advertising these types of things. It'd be nice to know if there's a way to get this information out to the public other than that, since I don't think the average citizen is reading the Daily Record. It's interesting for me to hear that this is mostly driven by the SIDs. That's what it sounds like to me, and that Douglas County is just being a good partner because, of course, the government will be responsible for probably maintaining the roads accessing these SIDs. So I think that's the type of information where it would be nice to have a better way to advertise citizen input or citizen comment, just so these are the types of things that can come out. I mean, it makes sense to me what you're explaining, and like I said, I think it's I find it very helpful. So I'm sure that citizens that are directly affected by this would also find it very helpful. So, but it sounds like we all need to do a better job of getting the word out. You're doing your part by contacting the heads of the SIDs to have them filter it out. The question is whether that information is getting any further. So, so I appreciate answering my questions.
You bet.
All right, and with that, I see Commissioner Friend, you've had your 2 times and are unable to speak again. So with that, no other people are in the queue, commissioners are in the queue. Anyone else wishing to speak during this public hearing? Okay, go ahead. Yes, absolutely. Come on down. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Cody Ledent. I reside in this area that we are discussing on 174th and State. My father is the property owner of that location. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be heard. I'm here on behalf of the now 1,352 residents that have signed this petition. I would just like to say that the trees are so much more than just an aesthetically pleasing appearance. The trees form an irreplaceable tree canopy that has been quite an attraction to the area. It's very well known. It's a very beloved area for not just the residents, but for many people that drive through. Everyone loves the trees. The land that the trees are on also has a great historical value dating back to 1880. We have photographs, old photographs, when State Street was a gravel road when these trees were planted, and they are now fully mature and make this irreplaceable tree canopy over State Street, which those are harder and harder to find in Omaha. They just keep getting torn down. Tearing down this canopy is going to devastate this part of Bennington, and it's going to leave its residents absolutely heartbroken. Besides its beauty and uniqueness, the trees provide privacy to the homeowners as well as safety. The trees are a protection from the traffic going up and down State Street. If they are gone, the homes are going to be vulnerable to vehicles crashing into them, as well as the property values are going to be greatly diminished in that area. 2 of the 4 property owners in that area were never notified of this project, which is apparently set to begin mid-July. In fact, myself and my father, we were just notified of this project about 2 weeks ago. We fully understand that there are safety issues with the road as it is, and that something needs to be done. We agree, especially with the intersection. It's incredibly dangerous. Every day we're driving out there and people are speeding. It's very difficult to get in and out of our driveway. There's been several accidents and drivers speeding through the area. Something definitely needs to be done. However, we feel that the current plan is only going to encourage people to drive faster. But the traffic absolutely needs to be slowed down and stopped in the area. We definitely agree with that. But we don't see how getting rid of this irreplaceable tree canopy is going to help with that at all. There are definite options that can be considered in making the road safe and allowing the trees to stay. Instead of this drastic and devastating change to the property, why not try the least invasive and least expensive options first? Several options could be adding 2 more stop signs. As simple as that would eliminate most, if not all, the accidents in that area. Even a stoplight, a roundabout, possibly blocking off 1 or 2 of the the intersecting roads coming onto State Street could be an option. The hill, the slight hill, it can definitely be shaved down while allowing the trees to remain. I would just like to ask, please consider any other options and allow for more time so that discussions can be held. And please let the trees stay. They are truly loved by so many residents in Bennington. 1,352 people have signed this petition.
1 minute. Thank you.
That's
Thank
all
you
I have to
very
say.
much.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak during the public hearing? All right, with that,
Can I make a motion to lay this over for 2 weeks? How much money do we lose if we do that? And I'm not trying to be a roadblock. Can I make a motion to lay it over for 2 weeks?
well, we're in the public hearing, so we can't do anything just yet. So
Okay.
hold on for just a second.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
So if no one else is wanting to speak during this public hearing, I will close the public hearing and now ask for a motion to approve.
Approve a layover for 2 weeks, Madam Chair, if possible. And I don't know, and if it's okay that Mr. Kudelek actually speak to this motion, even though.
Second it, so we can have that
In-
discussion.
information.
Hang on,
Sorry.
hang on. You have a motion to
Thank
lay
you.
over. There's a second. Is anyone wanting to speak on the motion on the table? Commissioner P.J. Morgan?
I would ask Mr. Kudelak to talk about, is there cost involved and some other things, as you said, Commissioner Friend.
Thank you.
Can I ask for a point of order real quick, man?
Yes.
Commissioner Friend, are you asking to postpone? There really is no such thing. Are you asking to postpone till July 20th?
I've also been told that it would actually technically be 3 weeks. So my motion would have to be amended.
No, but is it to postpone?
For 3
It's to
weeks.
postpone because there's not anything as a motion to lay over.
Since
To
we-
postpone, thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Commissioner Rogers.
All right, Dan?
Well, we have a signed contract with a contractor. The low bid was awarded by the board. We have a start date. Pre-construction meeting has been held. And what we try to do with our contracts is to give contractors windows of opportunities to build the project. You know, like this project, once he gets the notice to proceed, it's 90 days or 60 days, whatever it is. And he has fit that into his work schedule. These are big contractors, heavy highway contractors. They have multiple projects. And by giving them that flexibility and committing to it, there's some cost savings to the public, number one. Whether there's any monetary complications or responsibilities to pay damages to the contractor, we'd have to defer that to the county attorney. But there could be. There could be. He may say, you know what, if you delay our job, I can't come back till whenever. Cost of materials are going up, so you're going to have to reimburse me for that. I didn't count on this, that type of thing. The trees either have to come out or we don't do anything. There's no project we could possibly do out there that would not affect the trees that are that close to the existing road. It's that simple. Just shaving down the road, which was referred to, if we just did that project, we'd take out a whole lot of those trees because the road's coming down about 3 feet, 2 to 3 feet. And that requires what we call limits of construction, the grading of the ditches and the shoulders and the back slopes goes out further. You know, it goes out further than if you don't change the grade for obvious reasons. So I guess as far as 2 residences weren't contacted, it's because they weren't directly affected with their impact as far as buying right-of-way or easements or any of that nature. There's sufficient right-of-way to do everything within the public right-of-way in front of their homes. And we do not contact people if that's the case. I have it since I've been involved anyway.
Okay. Commissioner Morgan, did you have anything else? All right. With that, there is a motion to lay over, and Or postpone, sorry. Yes, you're right. And I guess I will just add my 2 cents to this, because as hard as this is, I went through it in my district as well on 180th Street. Same thing, road of trees making the canopy, and got calls. Actually, there were people who were standing in front of the bulldozers that day as they were getting ready to take the trees. So I know the emotional aspect of it for the residents. But again, as we look at our plans, and especially during a 1 and 6 year plan of projects, as Mr. Kudelak said, the time that it takes to get where we are with this plan is really excruciating and long. And so I would be a little bit leery of postponing this just for that purposes, because of all of the planning that does take place. And again, delays do actually cost money. And so if things are already lined up, if people are ready to move, I guess I would be a little bit leery of postponing this. But again, just appreciate what the folks are talking about, because again, I've experienced it firsthand in my district as well. So I just don't know if the benefits, if there's benefits to postponing it. With that, any other questions or comments? Commissioner Morgan, this is your second
Commissioner
time.
Friend, if we vote to postpone for the 3 weeks, and unfortunately it's 3 weeks because we won't be meeting, my question to you would be, what would we do at that point? I mean, what can we do during that period to be helpful?
Excellent question. And again, I alluded to this earlier. Maybe I should have had this information. Traffic studies, the information that led Mr. Kudelak and his team to the decision making. I've known about this for 2 weeks, and I think most of the board probably has too. What I'd like to do is get some of that traffic study information. I'd also like to know what type of, if a mitigation were to actually occur, what those financial numbers look like. So in other words, if 171st to 177th was actually put off and we started another project in its place, financially, what does that do to the county? I am not going to be that roadblock and say suddenly we're in for $3 or $4 or $5 million more dollars. What I want to know is just what those numbers look like. And it could take us 2 or 3 weeks to find that out. Now, I respect what Commissioner Borgeson said, and I will respect the will, of course, respect the will of the board, but I have and I also don't think 3 weeks is going to cost us $10 million, but I don't know that. I mean, right now everything's really esoteric. I don't have any numbers, right? I mean, you're a numbers guy. You tell me, Commissioner Morgan. I don't know what 3 weeks will do to us, and I think we can drum up some information and a little bit more information for an area of town that is very concerned about the lack of what they would consider notification and information.
Okay.
But
anything else, Commissioner Morgan?
No, if there's anything
I
else
could be wrong.
you want to say, I want to be respectful of that also.
Yeah,
This delay, postponement.
This project has actually been delayed years, actually, because of work that was done on Ida Street for the Flanagan Lake, for the bridge, and we closed Ida Street. This project would have been built years ago, actually. And it was decided, because of the closure of Ida Street, not to close State Street at the same time, concurrently. And it took years to build that other bridge. So we've delayed this project substantial amount of time. And the testimony is that one intersection is dangerous. People are pulling out onto State Street without the proper sight distance. And that's part of this project too, is to increase the safety at that one particular intersection. We would have to contact a contractor, Commissioner Friend, and see what they would say. You know, there's utilities involved. I'm not sure, personally, I don't have the information today as to what ramifications that might have. You know, so there's just a lot of moving parts when you build a road of this magnitude on a public street. There's a lot of players, a lot of players. And again, if it isn't today, it's going to be tomorrow. Those trees are going to come down. You know, it's not like we can wave a magic wand and mitigate that. They're coming down. We don't normally pay for trees in public right-of-way. That's a long-standing, I guess, statutory backs that we don't pay for things in public right-of-way. So I don't know how else we can mitigate it without not building the road, and that's not a good answer. The traffic count on State Street, just so you know, down the road is expected to be tens of thousands of cars. It's going to be a major arterial. So this is kind of an interim project that we hope will last for maybe 20 years, and allow people to drive down State Street safely. But at some point, if you believe the planners, State Street's going to be a major arterial. Could be up to 6 lanes wide, they project. We'll see. Thank you.
All right. With that, there are Commissioner Kavanaugh. Whoops, did you just shut that off?
Yes. Dan, just a couple questions.
Oh, wait.
It's an intersection at 138th and State, is that right? Did I get that right?
This intersection?
That we're talking about.
171st.
Haven't-
Kilpatrick Avenue, I think it's actually referred to as.
You said earlier that you got signed contracts on this project, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. In that contract, which I'd be loath to, change, and it's the engineer's job, not our job to do that. Does it have a start date in the contract itself?
Yes. We, at the pre-construction meeting is when that date was set. It's July 18th.
For this particular project, right?
Yeah, I think that, or was that the triathlon? I'm not sure, but it's in the middle of July.
No, I understand. And if we do this layover, that would be beyond the contract start date, is that right?
Yes, because we don't meet until the 20th.
Right. That's a difficulty. I mean, the contract's a contract, and if it's a signed deal, we've got some liability, I presume, to live up to our side of the contract. This particular item, and Commissioner Friend, maybe you can clarify this, is part of a much larger 6-year highway plan. So are we just taking this particular item out of the 6-year plan, or are we laying over the entire 6-year plan?
I don't think I technically can pull that out. I mean, but our parliamentarian might be able to shed some light on that. I don't think I can.
Okay. So there are other contracts in the 6-year plan, I presume, too, that you're in a similar situation?
Many, multiple, yes.
Yeah. Boy, I mean, that's really tough. I guess I'd ask our county attorney maybe for a little bit of advice on signed contracts with start dates.
Teresa, your county attorney's office. So I don't have the specific contracts in front of me, nor do I even know the project numbers that we're talking about. But I'll speak in generalities. So if the board has approved the contract and we sign it, you correctly stated, Commissioner, that we do have obligations and duties under that signed contract. And if I understand what Dan is saying is that this project that's set to go forward has already been before the board and already been approved, and that contract is in place. And so that's the best I can give you right now without that contract to give you more particulars. But those would be, I share Dan's concerns if we do have a signed, executed contract for this project.
Yeah, that's a real difficulty. I don't know, Commissioner Friend, if you've got an alternative to that, or how we would get around the fact that, we're in a situation where we have contracted with people to do this work starting on a specific date that's part of the contract. And action, if we did the layover, would violate that contract.
Can I respond to that,
Yes,
Madam Chair?
there's still time.
Okay, Dan, thanks for all the work you did today that you didn't think you were going to have to do. Appreciate that. But to respond to Commissioner Kavanaugh's inquiry or point, I agree. What if we didn't lay it over and we had an opportunity to mitigate or offer information in that area that would talk about potential enhancements? So in other words, stop sign. How much could a four-way stop actually cost on 171st Street? Is that part of the contract, or are you violating contracts to actually reduce speed or to putting street calming devices? Now, I'm not talking about a roundabout. I'm talking about stoplights or
1 minute.
I'm talking about stoplights or stop signs, right?
Yeah,
I mean, can these discussions continue even though the contract is in place? Can the discussions continue with the county commissioner and also his or her constituents? You know what I mean?
Yeah, traffic control signs, stops, signals, that type of thing are not related to this project at all. Those are standalone decisions. They have to meet warrants. You know, we would do accident studies, volume studies, et cetera, to make a decision on that based on the requirements that we should follow. So they're not related. If we're going to put in a stop sign, we'd put in a stop sign. But
I can't say that. Okay.
Commissioner Kavanaugh, you have 10 seconds left.
Well, I think I get another one.
You have another one after
Okay.
this.
You know, that might be a way to go, Mike, if we can have some discussions and not violate the contract provisions. You've got some time, and I think that Dan's saying that he's open to that discussion, if you'd be comfortable with that.
Yeah, oh, you're asking me a question, of
Yeah.
course. Wasn't rhetorical. Yeah, I would, I can't speak, of course, for, you know, there's 1,300 people, that names I saw in a mailbox this morning. Guess what? There's 80,000 people up in that district. I mean, I am not, again, trying to be a fly in the ointment. What I'd like to do is continue dialogue. A big portion of the conversation last night was talking about streets, traffic calming devices. Traffic calming devices come in 3 different forms, right? A roundabout, Sarpy County is the roundabout king. We are not. And I'm not saying we should be. And also stoplights and stop signs. Dan, if those discussions can go on, I think we can. The trees, I told the folks last night, look, I can't, I am not going to stand in front of a tree. I don't know. So.
Are you willing to withdraw your postponement?
Yes, I am.
Commissioner Kavanaugh, are you
Because I don't think I have the
with-
votes.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. We could proceed on those lines. That'd be good.
I just wanted to make one clarification that it's actually Sarpy's the queen of roundabouts, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry.
All right. With that, we have the motion to postpone is withdrawn. Then I need a motion to approve the 1- and 6-year plan. Is there a second? I'll second the motion. Any further questions or comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Marine Boyle. Yes. Commissioner Kavanaugh. Yes. Commissioner Friend.
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan.
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Dan, and everyone who came today. Next is our committees, and the first being the budget report as presented. There's also the monthly fee report as presented. And then Human Resources has the weekly personnel report from Civil Service as presented. No legislation. We do have need for an we do have need for an executive session, but Commissioner Maureen Boyle.
Yeah, just a couple things. One is this morning I met with OPPD and Mike Friend was there just to start a discussion about how we can do more to promote renewable energy with the county. So I think we're just going to go gung-ho on something like that. And the second is that today is Dr. Adipur Appreciation Day, but it's also Chair Borgerson's birthday.
Oh.
So I wanted to wish her a happy birthday.
Thank
so.
you. Thank you.
Who's going to sing?
And we have
Go-
cake
go
and
ahead.
cookies.
Aw.
Go.
Oh.
There you are.
Oh, isn't that cute? Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And, oh, how
Gluten-free
nice.
cookies.
And gluten-free. Now, I am a proud 59. Well, thank you very, very much.
Absolutely.
So with that, we do have need for an executive session for litigation and legal advice. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Marie Boyle. Commissioner Kavanaugh. Commissioner Friend.
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan. Commissioner Rogers. Madam Chair.
Yes.
Motion
and
passes 6-0.
It'll just be in the back here.
Motion to reconvene and adjourn passes 6-0 at 11:14 a.m.